Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well. It's your main man Anil coming live once again for Inner Line Fitness Podcast. How's everybody doing? I hope you've enjoyed a very restful and refreshing Easter break. And in today's podcast episode, number 8 of 2026, I'm going to be going through how you can turn a negative into a positive to now start losing weight. So let's dive right in. Young and grown men, I'm sure by now you've had a good Easter break to refresh and have a little bit of clarity now that it's been 3 months since the start of the new year. And you may be at that point where you're wondering what you need to do with your weight loss. You may have hit a threshold, you may have hit a breaking point, you may have even reached a point where there's just so much negativity, you don't know what to do with that negativity. You don't know whether to work out from that negativity, get into rage mode, get into anger, what you need to do with that negativity. But I can say from experience, young and grown men, what you need to do is bottle up all that negativity and turn a negative into a positive. Now, what do I mean by this? I'm sure by now in your weight loss journey, you've had one threshold of pain that has absolutely bothered you, annoyed you, and you reach that point where you're like, I do not want to feel like this anymore. For me, I can share it was going on a flight and not being able to fit in the seat or even putting the seatbelt on. It was sitting on a coach or a bus and not being able to sit in one seat. And I said, that is it. I've had enough. I am no longer going to feel like this. I am never going to feel like I can't fit in a seat on an aeroplane or a bus or a coach. I'm sure you reached that kind of breaking point as well at some point very recently. Drop a like if you have, drop a comment if you have. Tell me if this relates to you. But once you reach that breaking point, what you've got to do is say, no more. I will never feel like this again. I've had enough. I'm going to do something about this and turn this frustration into fuel to work out. Now, what that means is we're not going to train from revenge and anger and getting back at everyone who wronged us. What we're going to do at Inner Line Fitness is give you an identity that you can align with. The strong version of you, the high vibration of you, your real identity, not the one that was given to you, that strong identity of the warrior inside of you. And that's what we talk about, channel your inner Rocky. So, what I want you to do, I want you to take a deep breath now. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to think of one role model that you have. And I want you to give a name to that role model and make that your inner warrior identity. This person, this in shape actor, this in shape fitness influencer, it could be anybody. That's why I call it the inner Rocky, right? And I want you to give a name to that identity and I want you to feel where that warrior is. For me, my warrior sits here in the heart because I got heart. And I want you to channel that warrior every time you feel like giving up. Because what that warrior is, that is a symbol, that is your identity of what you're really going for. That warrior is a high vibration of you. And with that warrior energy, you're going to be able to turn this negative into a positive. So, what that means is now, from that warrior place, you say, I will not tolerate this threshold of pain that comes with being out of shape. I'm now going to steadily lose weight so I can align with that high vibration identity that I have inside of me. And that warrior is exactly what I'm going to channel every time I lose weight, every time I get in the gym, every time I feel like not following through, every time I don't feel like working out. I'm going to channel that inner warrior every single time. Sometimes it goes over people's head why I say channel your inner Rocky, but you've got to channel your inner Rocky in order to keep going when it gets tough, in order to turn that negative into a positive. It's not about training from anger because anger is debilitating. You can only use it so much. It's okay in the beginning, but that energy of anger, constantly being mad, it projects the wrong energy out there into the universe. It doesn't project what you actually want. What you need to do is align with what you want, not what other people say, what you want. What you want from your fitness journey to lose weight, to get higher energy, to become the best version of you, to never feel down about yourself again, to feel enough again, to love yourself, but at the same time have that bravery and that strength every time to train from your highest level. So, what we're going to do is turn that negative into a positive through a new identity and lose weight from that new identity. And at some point, when you keep losing weight, you see, I've come a long way from that point. I'll never feel that threshold of pain ever again. Because one thing I could say about this break that I had in London was it was very refreshing. You know, it helped me to just get off the hamster wheel of life. Because if you keep training over and over and you don't align back again with what you really want, everything just becomes like a hamster wheel. Running on the treadmill becomes like a hamster wheel. There's no clarity of exactly where you're trying to go, what you're trying to achieve, and to get back aligned with what you're trying to achieve. And this is what it can do. Turning a negative into a positive means you turn your frustration into fuel to then work out and slowly overcome that frustration. And once you start losing weight with that new identity of I'm the inner Rocky, I'm not a loser, I am the inner warrior, I am no longer a loser, I am no longer not enough. You'll start to lose that weight and you can let go of that old identity. And at some point, when you lose all of that weight, you look back at that threshold of pain moment and say, that was a turning point. Ah, I realized that's when I really made that decision. You know what? That night where I kept eating junk food because, I just was eating junk food to fill my emotions. That was my turning point. The point where I got tired of having low energy. The point where I could no longer get up a flight of stairs. The point where I couldn't fit in an aeroplane seat. The point where I had no energy to run and to play with my kids or to, play with my friends. It's stuff like that that bothers you that you can turn into a positive so that you get to the opposite result, which is you feel the best version of yourself and you don't feel like that again, and you get to the best version of you through training and using a strong identity and channeling your inner warrior. This is what we mean by turn a negative into a positive. And I'm a living proof of that, because for all of the negativity that I was given, I've got to this point by turning a negative into a positive, focusing on what I can control. And at some point, it finally took over. And you see, that positive energy is exactly what's allowed me to manifest this life for me, through having good energy and having the get up and go to go after my fitness goals, not using, negative tactics like, name calling and, browbeating to get the best out of people, but using real inspiration, real coaching, real accountability to help people to actually lose weight. Because by now, I'm sure you've heard plenty of things under the sun, but you don't need to hear that anymore. Because here at Inner Line Fitness, I take care of my clients. I help them to overcome their limiting beliefs. I help them to feel good about themselves and then lose the weight from that place. We don't tolerate any of that negative behavior over here. We turn negatives into positives. And this is what I'm trying to say, guys. You can do this. It's still April, there's plenty of time, and you can get up and go and figure out exactly what you want by going on this path. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed this podcast. I hope you found it of great value. As I would say, everybody, channel your inner Rocky. If you're ready to lose weight, DM me at immunityforcommunity@gmail.com, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. As I'd say, channel your inner Rocky. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather out here. It's spring.